It's time for our daily news roundup, bringing you all the latest news about the Washington Commanders in a fast, direct, and always up-to-date way. If you're new here and love the Washington Commanders, don't waste any time. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and hit the like button to boost our work here on the platform. Let's go for another one. Let's get started now to begin with the updates. The Washington Commanders will be looking to turn things around in 2026 after a disastrous 2025 season. Washington has already hired a new offensive coordinator in David Blau following the separation with Cliff Kingsbury and is currently on the hunt for their next defensive coordinator before beginning to examine improving the roster. The Commanders will have many holes to fill as they are one of the teams with some of the most free agents and will look towards the free agent market and the NFL draft to rebuild their roster. One area they can also add to their depth chart is in free agency, and after a fallout in San Francisco with the 49ers, wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk should be on their radar. The 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk settled on a contract not that long ago that would keep him satisfied, but unfortunately, things did not pan out. Aiyuk suffered a season-ending knee injury in 2024 that led to him being placed on the physically unable to perform list to begin the 2025 season as he worked his way back from the serious injury, but things took a drastic turn from there. In December of this season, the 49ers made the decision to place Aiyuk on the reserve/left squad list, which made him ineligible to return for the remainder of the 2025 season. Questions began to arise about what was actually going on with Aiyuk, but in a press conference following the season, head coach Kyle Shanahan and general manager John Lynch highlighted the situation that was at hand. Acquiring Aiyuk would pair him with his former Arizona State teammate Jayden Daniels, and it would be a seamless transition if the Commanders are able to make sure he medically clears and are willing to work with his unique personality. If the Commanders are able to get assurances that Aiyuk will buy into their plans, there's no reason not to attempt to acquire his services. It would be a flyer, but ultimately the risk could be worth it if he can get things straightened out. If Aiyuk is unable to straighten things out, he could likely find himself jobless and out of the league, no matter if a team is interested or not. What do you think about this? Share your ideas in the comments now.
Changing the subject, the update that just came in is as follows. The Washington Commanders' search for the next defensive coordinator continues, and fans are left wondering where they turn next. They missed out on Brian Flores, who decided to stay with the Minnesota Vikings, but they have interviewed other top candidates. The Commanders could be stuck in a waiting game for candidates like Raheem Morris and Carl Scott, but the search continues in the meantime. Dan Quinn just added another new candidate to the list, and it wouldn't be as impressive a hire as people think it would. While the Commanders wait for other dominoes to fall, they added a new name that we haven't heard of yet, as Pittsburgh Steelers defensive coordinator Teryl Austin is set to interview with the team. The Steelers are making their own drastic changes after Mike Tomlin stepped down after 19 seasons, and Austin likely won't be retained by the new head coach, and rightfully so. When you think of the Steelers' defense, you think of a top unit, but that hasn't been the case lately with Austin as the defensive coordinator. Their defense was 23rd in 2022 and 2023, 17th in 2024, and dropped to 20th this past season, even with all the talent they have. Austin does have a lot of experience, which I'm sure Quinn loves, but it's a move that wouldn't move the needle, and the Commanders have a drastically worse roster on defense than the Steelers. I reached out to A to Z Sports Pittsburgh's beat writer, Rob Gregson, to get his thoughts on Austin, and he agrees that it wouldn't be a good move to make. The Pittsburgh Steelers had a lot of good players during Teryl Austin's tenure as defensive coordinator. As a matter of fact, they had potential Hall of Famers in T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, with tons of Pro Bowlers and All-Pros mixed in. Yet every year there were questions. Blown assignments, bad communication, and just poor execution. It feels like there were yearly questions when it came to the run defense, and for as long as Austin was there, the team could never cover tight ends. It felt like whatever improvements came from that unit occurred when Mike Tomlin had to step in and imprint his DNA on that side of the ball. That shouldn't be the case for a DC. The Commanders need to nail this hire, and Austin would be a bad hire. You shouldn't expect much improvement if he's the hire. For me, the next defensive coordinator needs to be Carl Scott, Al Harris, or maybe Jonathan Gannon, and anything less than that is a failure. Next, leave your opinion in the comments below. Okay, here's the final update to wrap everything up for today. The Washington Commanders have some issues on the defensive end that need to be worked out this offseason. Some of the solutions may be linked to fixing the secondary, and a trade could be the best path moving forward. Pro Football Focus writer Bradley Locker suggests Quan Martin could be a trade candidate this offseason. The problems with Washington's aforementioned defense were especially pronounced in the secondary, where the Commanders ended the year 31st in PFF coverage grade. As General Manager Peters pursues upgrades, Martin's spot could be in jeopardy. The former second-round pick hasn't played as anticipated in the pros, receiving a 57.8 overall grade with a 38.6 PFF coverage mark. This year, Martin yielded the highest passer rating when targeted, 151.8 at the position, while also surrendering the 7th most yards, 468 at the position. The Commanders are armed with the 5th most cap space, and safeties like Kevin Byard, Ardarius Washington, and others could be free agent targets. In turn, the 25-year-old may call another franchise home. Martin, a second-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, has 1 year remaining on his contract. The Commanders could look to extend him after the 2026 season, but there is also a chance he explores his options outside of the national capital in free agency. In order to guarantee that the Commanders would get some value in return for Martin, the Commanders may go ahead of the curve and try to trade him before the start of next season. This is the approach the Commanders took with running back Brian Robinson Jr., who was traded to the San Francisco 49ers during training camp. It's possible that General Manager Peters could adopt the same strategy for Martin that he used with Robinson. The Commanders don't need to trade Martin, who has shown signs of growth for the Commanders since joining the team, but a deal is certainly possible on that front.